Hello and welcome to This Month in Hamilton, our May 2024 edition. Want to start out by thanking WBCB 1490 AM for allowing us each and every month to bring you what's going on this month in Hamilton. Joining us today, we have owners and operators of Hamilton Building Supply. Just last week, I was at their 100th anniversary celebration, and so want to bring them on, talk about their company here in Hamilton, a mainstay, obviously, for a long time. Any business that makes it to 100 years has some good advice for all of us. So we'll have them on in just a little bit to hear from them. Want to start out by always thanking our sponsors, Angelo Onifrey in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford-Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, Kessel Dermatology, and Amari's Pizza and Grill. Oh, and Tina's Pizza and Bagels. So thank you to all our sponsors. Hopefully, today we're shooting this on Tuesday, May 28th. Yesterday was Memorial Day here in Hamilton. The weather cooperated just perfectly. It rained 5 a.m. and then rained again after 12 o'clock. And so in between those two storms, we were able to get in our two Memorial Day parades. The 154th time in Groveville, Yardville, and then also on Nottingham Way, the Nottingham Memorial Day Parade. Really want to thank all those coordinators. It takes a village to put those on, so you've got the coordinators and the locals from Groveville, Yardville, who get together each and every year as a community to make that parade happen. So really want to thank them, especially Mark Coberly as well, who's my point of contact there. And then the Hamilton Firefighters Union, the FMBA, partner with the Nottingham Fire Volunteer Squad to put together the Nottingham Memorial Day Parade. So especially Deputy Chief Rutalis from our Hamilton Fire Department, want to thank them for putting on a phenomenal parade as well. It was so great to see so many smiling faces out at the parade. I'm sure some of the kids' smiling faces, I saw their candy bags were pretty much full by the time I got to them. So I know everybody had a good time and was able to celebrate. And I know obviously we're celebrating those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. But it was good to see all the red, white, and blue yesterday from everybody out and about. People who are proud to be Americans, appreciate what those before us made the sacrifice for, so we could have a great day yesterday. Just before that, the weekend before that, we had our Armed Forces Day celebration. Want to thank Colonel Watson and the Hamilton Township Patriotic Committee for putting on that event as well on the east side of Veterans Park. Again, celebrating all those, all the military branches, obviously composed of the people of this great country and our great town who make up those military branches, recognizing many of them individually as well, but becoming one united force for the defense of our great country as well. And then the weekend before that was our Mother's Day event, our Azalea Fest in Sayin Gardens. Had beautiful weather for that one as well. And so with all those events, want to thank our Department of Public Works, led by Chuck Thomas, our Hamilton Police Division, led by Chief Dabosky, our Recreation Department, led by Kathy Fitzgerald. All of those had a part in one or more of those three events, making sure they happened, were put on, that you all as Hamilton residents could enjoy them with your families, could enjoy them with your loved ones, and it's what really makes our community so great. We take a little bit of a hiatus now in June. We need some of our employees to probably catch their breath a little bit. But then June 1st, we're doing our Hamilton Township fireworks in concert on the south side of Veterans Park. Why July 1st, you asked? That's a Monday evening. July 4th is a Thursday. I figured a lot of people at a lot of other places are going away because July 5th is a Friday. So a lot of people are taking Friday off and giving themselves a 4-day weekend. And so wanted to get it in before that. So many people around here also have them on July 3rd, leading into that long weekend. And so we wanted to get ours in early. We figured there's plenty of opportunities for you to go to other area fireworks display and venues. So make it a week-long, basically, celebration of our country's founding, the 248th year since 1776. So big celebration coming up 2 years from now. But the thought was get it in early, get a rain date in available as well. And this way you can go to other events during the week. If you're leaving for the week for a vacation, you can go to those as well. And so that's why we did it a little bit earlier this year, because we know there's all sorts of fireworks displays on around that time too. It also allows our employees, especially those, again, who want to take July 5th off, to be with their families and loved ones, to get some time off as well and go be with them as well. So again, taking a break from big events in June and going to July 1st for our fireworks and concert in Veterans Park. A month after that, the first Tuesday of August is always our National Night Out celebration, led by Chief Dabosky of the Hamilton Township Police Division. The event grows every year. I don't know how it keeps growing, but you'll see signs starting to go up after the fireworks display for that. Again, it's the first Tuesday in August. I think it's August 6th, 5th or 6th this year, from 5 to 8 p.m. on the south side of Veterans Park. Always a good time. Last year, Chief Dabosky added some new things as well, really to try to be more interactive. So if your kids want to play basketball against a cop, they have the opportunity to do that. They have the opportunity to fly some drones with some of our police officers. All sorts of different competitions with different police officers. If they want to get the experience of fighting a fire, not a real fire, but at least using the fire hose. We'll have fire trucks available and some of our firefighters who will be able to assist the kids with that. The Touch-A trucks from Public Works will be back as well. So a lot of great things going on, a lot of vendors who will be there, for some with free food, some with paid food, but always a good time out, and we hope to see you there as well. So I know some of the events start to die down in the summer as you have many of your own things going on. Maybe it's high school graduations, college graduations, first communions, confirmations, whatever the case may be. But there's still stuff going on in town throughout the summer as well, so we hope to see you there too. Speaking of what's going on around town, you'll start seeing a lot of road paving projects going on. Some are by us, some are by Trenton Waterworks or Aqua, some are by PSE&G. So if you see the flashing lights, just make sure you slow down a little bit. Give everybody the space they need. I know there are inconveniences and sometimes a little bit frustration as you need to get to a place, but we just ask that you keep everybody safe. Slow down as you see those public work projects going on and repaving the roads. It's peak time now for all those kinds of projects to happen, and so you'll be seeing a lot of it now and through the summer, so we just hope you hold tight on some of those things. Want to thank all who came out to our Trenton Waterworks Public Forum that we had May 15th at the Hamilton Township Library. We had about 60 people from around the town coming out. I know they're speaking for a lot of other residents, many people coming for their street or their neighborhood and talking about some of the frustrations they've had with either dirty water or just questions about water quality. And so we hope Trenton Waterworks continues this as part of a once-a-year public forum. It started pre-COVID. Obviously, COVID delayed the public forum now for the past few years. We had one last year as well. But it's really just a great opportunity for you to hear from Trenton Waterworks directly, hear from me kind of on my viewpoints on Trenton Waterworks. They are making improvements. It's not where it needs to be, but thanks to DEP and others stepping in, it's definitely on a better trajectory than it was 5-6 years ago. But we know each and every one of you have individual questions, whether it's on lead service line replacements, water quality, maybe brown water on your particular residence. So great opportunity to get out and get some of those questions answered. They started talking about new water tanks around town, new smart meter placements in homes. So a lot of information brought on by Trenton Waterworks. So thank them for coming out and giving that information to all of us as well. Speaking of Trenton Waterworks, like I said, you have some of those projects going on, but we had it in the library for a specific reason too. Want to thank Congressman Andy Kim. He got us a $1.5 million, over a $1.5 million grant from the federal government to make some needed improvements at our library. For those who go to the library, obviously you know it was built in the 1970s and still looks much like it did in the 1970s. But thanks to Congressman Kim's grant, we'll be able to redo all the bathrooms in the facility. We'll be able to redo all the windows in the facility. And we think we'll even have some money left to make some improvements to the children's area. All those items, the bathrooms, the windows, the children's furniture and bookshelves, all original to the 1970s, early to mid 1970s. So you're talking things that are 50 years old. And just like in your home, things show their age and need to be replaced. So the library board's already been well on the way to making other improvements. They've been redoing some of the flooring in the basement that we know many of you use for meeting space. That's where we had our public forum with Trenton Waterworks. They just installed new railings to make it easier. We heard a lot of seniors talking about. It's a long walk from the parking lot into the library, and you either got to go up a hill or kind of down a hill. So they installed some safety railings there to make it safe for people. So hope you get the chance to check out the library in the coming months. If you're not a regular, if you are a regular, you're going to be seeing a lot of improvements, a lot of sprucing up there. And again, it's definitely needed, but part of our commitment to start really making some of those infrastructure improvements. One last thing, in terms of the new municipal building going right up the street from the library, we are waiting from the Office of the State Comptroller, who's reviewing all our bid documents. As soon as they give us the thumbs up, which we hope to get any day now, we'll be going out to bid for that project with the goal of breaking ground early fall and getting the footings and foundations and underground work done before the ground freezes. Last year, didn't have much freeze around town. Hopefully we have that situation, but we want to try to make sure we're well underway before that occurs so that it can keep on being built through the winter. Still looking at about a 2-year timeline for it to be built, so the projection still for an opening is fall of 2026. So with that, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, again, we'll be joined by the owners and operators at Hamilton Building Supply, talk about their company, their business here in town, and all the good things they have going on. So we'll take a short break and be back in just a moment.
Kessel Dermatology in Hamilton Square is an award-winning dermatology practice led by Dr. Daniel Kessel, a board-certified dermatologist. He and his expert staff treat patients of all ages. They offer treatments of all types of skin, hair, and nail conditions, and annual skin cancer screenings, anti-aging treatments, ultraviolet A and B light treatments, skin tightening procedures, Botox, and other treatments that enhance your skin's overall health and appearance. Kessel Dermatology is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. For appointments, call 609-890-2600. That's 609-890-2600. Or visit KesselDermatology.com. They're at 1700 Whitehorse, Hamilton Square Road. Kessel Dermatology. They're good. Hamilton Township in Mercer County is fortunate to have many fine businesses that serve our community. Saul Funeral Home is a fourth-generation family-owned business proud to support our local schools and community. Their compassionate and caring staff is there for you and your family. They'll bring the closure you deserve while also celebrating the life of your loved one. Visit their website at saulfuneralhomes.com. That's saulfuneralhomes.com. Saul Funeral Home at 3795 Nottingham Way, Hamilton Square.
Hi, this is Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I'm proud to help sponsor today's show and promote what's happening in our community. All residents of your hometown should stay involved and participate in community activities, whether it's volunteering to help make your town clean, or volunteering at the animal shelter, or helping at a local youth event. Staying involved in your community makes your hometown a great place to live. This is Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I hope you enjoyed today's show.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. I want to again start out by thanking our sponsors. Angelo Onifree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman, Ford, and Subaru. Got a little tongue twister there. Saul Funeral Home, Kessel Dermatology, and Tina's Pizza and Bagels. So, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on today. I know we ran into each other last week at a big celebration. I did not get to participate in the axe throwing at your celebration, but hopefully there were no injuries as part of that. It looked to be a well-run event. So if you could just kind of introduce yourselves a little bit and talk about your history with Hamilton Building Supply.
Sure. Well, my name is Keith Coleman. I grew up in the business. Dad purchased the business with help from his uncle, or my uncle, his brother, back in 1967. And I've basically been involved in the business really ever since I could stand up, but joined the business full-time after graduating college in '86 and have been there ever since.
And I'm John Perna, President, CEO of Hamilton Building Supply, Keith's stepson. Been involved in the business growing up as a little kid. Worked in the lumberyard summers in high school. Worked with a framing contractor in college. Graduated college, started in sales, and sort of worked my way up from there. And about 5 years ago, joined Keith as a co-owner of the company.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So, Keith, talk a little bit, or John. I know you said your dad and your uncle, right?
Yeah.
But you're on your how many generations now? Fourth generation?
Well, essentially, as far as Colemans are concerned, it's
Yeah.
third generation.
Third generation.
Yep.
So talk about, you just celebrated 100 years. So kind of how the company got founded, who founded it, a little bit of the history there.
Yeah. Well, originally the business was recognized as Hutchison Mills, going all the way back to 1924. E.C. Hutchison and Dewey Taylor and whatnot were involved at that point. And my dad had actually worked at what was then Hamilton Supply, eventually in his 20s. He was a farmer, local farmer, potato farmer, raised chickens, had an egg route all through Trenton. And at some point, my Uncle Earl, who had developed Coleman Buick, initially in Heightstown and then subsequently moved to the Trenton area, came to my dad and said, "Hey, there's a business for sale in Hamilton. I think we ought to take a look at it."
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, again, was farming during the regular season and then working at what was Hamilton Supply in the winter months. Back then there was coal, and he would help deliver coal and do all sorts of things associated with the business. But anyway, my uncle convinced my dad to have a look at the business, which at the time really didn't have more than, I believe, 5 or 7 employees.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't in the greatest of shape at that point. And my dad hesitated because he said, I really don't know the first thing about hardware or lumber or building materials or anything like that. And my uncle assured him that, you're a people person, so you'll be just fine. He really didn't have any formal management training whatsoever, but took a leap of faith with my uncle, and again, that was in 1967.
Wow.
That they took over.
So, you think about what was going on in the 60s, right? And you talked about coal, obviously not selling or driving around coal deliveries anymore, right? So give a little bit about, for people who drive by, right? You see it as almost a lumber yard. You see the big sign, Hamilton Building Supply. But there's a lot that goes into that, right? There's a lot that the business kind of makes up, and it's not coal anymore. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about where it is today and what you're involved in today.
Yeah, so we're a single location, independent building material dealer. We sell into the surrounding community in Hamilton, New Jersey, but then we've also reached into parts of the Jersey Shore and then eastern Pennsylvania as well. And we've sort of developed this niche where we follow our customer. Our customer is the pro contractor who's a custom home builder or residential remodeler or renovator that really focuses on delivering a very quality product to their client. And that's where we've sort of developed our niche. So we're selling premium grade lumber and lumber products. We have a deep specialty in windows and doors and architectural millwork. We also do a little bit of manufacturing for a proprietary product called Duration Molding and Millwork, which we're actually shipping across the country.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty exciting. That's something Keith's been heading up. But yeah, everything that we focus on is really oriented towards the pro contractor who wants to then, deliver a quality, custom home or remodeling project to their client.
So talk about the millwork then that you're shipping kind of across the country, right? What is that? How did you kind of come into something like that?
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting story, one that we're very both proud of and fortunate to have discovered. About 12 or 13 years ago, we were approached by one of our regular wholesale vendors who are always bringing new products to us. And we're always very cautious with new products, especially if they haven't been tested in a real world situation. But at the time, they came to us and they said, hey, this is the latest, greatest exterior trim and millwork product. And we said, sure it is. We'll be the judge of that. So at the time, we had our own custom millwork division, and we were fabricating everything you can think of out of wood, interior doors, exterior doors, custom moldings, that sort of thing. And they gave us some samples of what most people would consider regular trim boards, 1x6s and 1x8s and 5/4x8s and that sort of thing. And they said, have at it, test it. So we did just that. We cut it up into different pieces and we froze it and we put it out in the sun. We threw it up on a roof. We tried to twist it, tried to break it, crack it, all these different
real world environments kind of stuff.
Yeah. And several weeks later, we came back and we said, okay, you've got our attention. We're very interested in actually handling and promoting this product for you. And at the same time, we also said, it'd be nice to have moldings. Are there moldings that go along with these trim boards? And they said, no, sorry, there aren't any moldings. There's, just this trim board offering. So with that, we thought, well, maybe we could make moldings out of these trim boards. So having the background in custom millwork, we attempted to do so. And we found out very quickly that this product, although it looked like wood, it didn't machine or tool like wood whatsoever. So we had to figure it out exactly how we could profile these pieces of wood, very much the same way you would regular wood moldings. And slowly but surely, we started to figure out how we could do just that. We then took those moldings back to the wholesaler that had sold us the trim boards and said, well, what do you think of these? And they were pretty amazed. And at the time, they asked, how much of this stuff can you make? And we said, well, how much do you want to buy? We'll work around you. And that's sort of how the whole thing started. And they came to us and they said, can you make these 10 profiles? These are very popular in what's called PVC or polyvinyl chloride, which, although it's long lasting, it has other attributes that are not so great. So we started fabricating those, and the market received them quite well. And then another wholesaler came to us and they said, hey, we heard you're making it for this wholesaler. Can you make it for that? And that's how the ball got rolling. And then we started to get some national exposure, and we were getting calls from all over parts of the country to fabricate these moldings. And we were able to hook up with a national lumber cooperative that has dealers all over the country, and we've been able to supply them as well. We originally thought it was just going to be moldings, but now siding is an extremely large portion of what we do. It's about 70 to 75% of what we manufacture now.
Oh, wow.
And like John mentioned, yeah, we ship it all over the country. We happen to be the only company in the country that's fabricating or milling this product on a very large scale. It's called polyash, and it's a combination of fly ash, which is a waste byproduct from coal combustion, and polymers that bind it all together.
So you're still doing something with coal even all these years later, right?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, never even thought about that, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it goes, as much as things change, they sometimes stay the same a little bit over time too, right?
Yeah.
So kind of a unique niche, right? Finding now this national product that's milled and kind of made a little bit, so to speak, right here in Hamilton.
Yeah, Trenton makes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate to find a niche, because as I tell so many people today, a lot of times if you develop a niche, somebody bigger or financially stronger can just come in and take that niche away from you. But luckily, there's a lot of proprietary information that we've developed over the years as a result of trying to figure it out. So yeah, it's been great.
Good.
Really
Good.
nice.
That's awesome. So, I guess as the region has grown, and I say even just the region, right? Because outside of Hamilton, you talked about going down the shore or Eastern Bucks and all that kind of stuff, right? You guys have almost grown along with that, right? I mean, you think Hamilton in the 60s was 45,000 people. Now we're double that, right? Robbinsville, Washington Township at the time was probably 4,000 people, and it's probably quadruple that now, right? And so on and so forth. Same with Hopewell, and you guys have been right there with them almost kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've a company, again, same location for 100 years, right out of Klockner and East State Street. What's nice about our location, and it's almost a competitive advantage in so many words, other lumber yards can't deliver into the same areas that we can efficiently. And what I mean by that is we're really nicely located right off of I-95, right off of Route 1. So we can get into the whole Hamilton area very quickly with our delivery trucks. We can swing into Philadelphia if we have to within 35, 45 minutes, and then we can also get out to the shore within 45 minutes to an hour and various shore points. We have some big customers that are actually down in Cape May.
Oh, wow.
And then we have some other big customers that are out on the main line in Philadelphia. And then, of course, everybody in between in Mercer County, which makes up the lion's share of our sales. So we've been very fortunate with our location, and it's the reason why we don't want to move our location or consider secondary or tertiary locations, because we have such a big space. And we can continue to produce at a high level just out of that single spot.
And you have the road infrastructure, right? As you were saying, 295, 195, Turnpike, 130, Route 1, to get pretty much so many places and to millions of people within an hour drive or so.
Right.
Very efficiently.
Yeah.
The interesting thing too, I tell people all the time, is when I joined the business full time, there were 14 independent lumber yards in Mercer County.
Oh, wow.
People will remember, Nottingham Supply and Hightstown Cash and Carry and Apex Lumber and Grover Lumber in Princeton. And, it's just amazing how over the number of years that, slowly but surely, for various reasons, they've disappeared. But we've been, just elated to be able to not only hang on through the low points, but experience the high points as well, of which I would say, these times right now are quite good.
Good. Well, we're going to take our first short break.
Okay.
When we be back, we'll continue talking about some of the future things they maybe have going on, some of the interesting facts about their company, but we'll be back in just a little bit.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford-Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford-Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
Hi, this is Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I'm proud to help sponsor today's show and promote what's happening in our community. All residents of your hometown should stay involved and participate in community activities, whether it's volunteering to help make your town clean, or volunteering at the animal shelter, or helping at a local youth event. Staying involved in your community makes your hometown a great place to live. This is Mercer County Prosecutor Angelo Honorfree, and I hope you enjoyed today's show.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again start out by thanking our sponsors, Angelo Honorfree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford and Subaru, Saul Funeral Home, Kessel Dermatology, and Tina's Pizza and Bagels. So we talked, obviously, 100 years, right? And obviously, I wouldn't think any of your existing employees have been with there from the start. But you have we were talking during the break, a good mix of some really long employees and some newcomers as well, right?
Yeah. We've our longest tenured employee is 42 years.
Wow.
Maybe going on 43 years. He started in 1981. Joe Hendershot, he's one of our top sales associates at the sales desk. All of our contractors know he is when they walk in. But Joe Hendershot started with us. Correct me if I'm wrong, Keith. He started with us on like a work program through Trenton High School in our yard. And then it got cold out, and he's like, I want to come inside. So then he started working in the store as a hardware clerk. But his tenacity and his ability to talk to people is really what kind of led him, onto the sales counter, and he's been there ever since. And what's really nice is now his son works for us, and he's in operations. Yeah, his son Zach works for us, and and that's just one example of an employee who's been with us for a long time. There's other employees that have been with us for 30, 35 years who've spent the greater part of their career with us because of what we enable them to do in their roles. And they really enjoy and they feel engaged by the initiatives that we're after and what we're trying to do as a company. So as we've evolved over the years and as the products have changed, the people that have been with us for the long term have been able to adapt as well, and are equally as engaged now than they've been 20, 30 years ago. And then what's nice about that is we have the nice veteran group, but then we also have a nice young group of newcomers who
Some new energy, right?
Yeah, some new energy. They're willing to learn. They're willing to adapt and engage. Maybe they've been in the business, or they started out working at like a box store, and they didn't like the hours, or they didn't like the feeling of being less connected to a customer. So then they kind of found their way to us. We've also had people come from outside of the industry, outside of lumber building materials industry, who've joined us, and they're really excited to be a part of it. And they've seen their career grow and develop with us. So that's been very exciting.
They've got to enjoy at some point working with their hands, right? I mean, whether they're doing it or they're in a sales capacity, right? I mean, you've got to have done it at some point almost to be able to talk about it, to be able to describe it, and give that feel and sense to the contractors who are coming to you for supplies too, I imagine.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's some contractors that actually work for us now. Maybe they were former contractors, and they've decided that, I've reached a time where it's like I was working by myself, and now I want to go to the other side of the counter and apply, the field knowledge to the sales side. And what's good about that is our contractor customers really appreciate that because they have credibility now. It's like
Sure.
now they know, what some of the trials and tribulations are working in the field.
So we have our construction office, right? And we get a lot of the same thing. Guys who work contractors, electricians, plumbers out in the field, then they get a bad back or a bad hip or a bad knee, right? And they're like, I still love being on the construction site. I just can't be crawling around or climbing on ladders all the time. And so they come in-house, so to speak, right? And use their knowledge that way.
Yeah, contracting's tough work.
Yeah.
And at some point, the body starts to fail, whether it's a knee or a back, or you're just tired of lifting really heavy stuff. To John's point, by yourself or even with a helper. So, but they're extremely valuable people, knowing what they know about just how things go together, how construction really works, and that's what we're able to convey to other customers as a result of their experiences. So it's been great.
We talked a lot about change and adaptation, right? And you're on the site of the original mill, and you have the little tributary there that was probably used to power the mill.
Yeah, some pink.
But it has its pluses and its minuses, I'm sure now, right? And I remember driving by probably 2 years ago or so after a heavy storm, and there was part of your parking lot flooded out and all of that, right? So I'm sure you've seen some of those ebbs and flows, to use a pun, a little bit too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen some devastation from flooding. It seems to have improved for whatever reason. Thank the Corps of Army Engineers or whoever is responsible for that sort of stuff. But there were times in the past where it was, quite devastating. It's kind of interesting too, because in the past, the property didn't afford us to get flood insurance.
Oh, wow.
And now it's actually a requirement that we have flood insurance. But knock on wood, it's not the sort of situation where it surprises us. We generally see it coming up, and we react or we respond accordingly by getting the material up. And again, knock on wood, we've been quite fortunate in the past few decades to not really have to be too impacted by that. But it's always in the back of your mind.
Sure. Yeah. Any heavy rainstorm or hurricane that comes through or anything, right? You start thinking and taking preventative action, right?
Yes. Yep.
Proactive action.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So talk a little bit, right? Just as leaders, right, of the business, right? There's good times, and you talk now about this being a good time, right? There's a ton of building going on. I mean, we see it even in the township, whether it's new, whether it's renovation, whatever it is, right? But you also get those downtimes of, about 15 years ago, right? 2008 to 2012-ish, right? When there wasn't really any building going on and people were hurting for money, so they weren't doing renovations, right? I mean, what did you guys have to go through as leaders, right, as the business, and making sure, and that wasn't the only time, right, but making sure a business survived, that you kind of keep it going that way too?
Yeah, I mean, 6 and 7 were boom times, and back then, we were gearing up. It's how can we handle everything that's coming at us? So we went from 60 to 70 to 80 and 90 plus employees.
Wow.
So you're aggressively trying to meet the demand, and then the next thing you know, 2009 rolls around and everything just goes off a cliff. You have contractors who had 3 or 4 jobs lined up, and slowly, one by one, they're getting calls that, we're going to hold off. And the next thing you know, they don't have any jobs whatsoever. And oh, by the way, they have an accounts receivable with you as well. So yeah, 2009 was absolutely devastating. At the time, I had two other partners, and one of them said, "You know what? I've had enough." And you know, I thought he'd be riding off into the sunset with me, quite frankly, but he was just totally burned out. We lost a lot of money, and yeah, it was tough. And then fast forward 10 years, you know, a whole decade really to sort of get back on, and then COVID-19.
Yeah.
which John
Which was
had
scary
to handle.
at first, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Very
what's going to
scary.
happen?
Sure.
You know?
Very scary.
But yeah, you know, all through that, you know, 2000, we were a totally different business in 2006 and 2007. Like Keith said, 90 employees, you know, high revenue and all that. And we were really, you know, if you looked at our product mix, it was completely different compared to what we have now. And that was an opportunity for us to reevaluate. It was a bit of a gut check, but then you reestablish where we're going from there. All through the 2010s, build back up, and then of course, you know, pandemic hit, and again, another opportunity to reestablish, reevaluate the business, which we did. And again, every time that those points of adversity come, it's like, all right, what are we going to do now? Because you know, we're not going to close up shop. It's just a matter of like, okay, how are we going to overcome the adversity? And that's just what we did in 2019, 2020, excuse me. And I think we're well positioned, you know, for the future. And at some point, there's going to be another downturn, and it's a matter of like, okay, how do we overcome that?
It was really key, though, that we were deemed essential in 19.
Oh, yeah.
We had to kind of fight for that through our trade organization to make people understand that, you know, there was really no reason why a contractor who's working on your house couldn't continue to work on your house. But if we had not been deemed essential, then it could have been a real
devastating
point.
blow.
Yeah.
But again, adapt and overcome, right? So you're going through that first few weeks of, you know, hey, we can't just completely stop every construction project in the world right now, right? To then that summer and fall and the next few years, right, where people started realizing, oh, I'm home, I could redo this, I could add on an addition.
A lot of decking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We were so behind on pool inspections, we couldn't believe it because everybody was home and decided the staycation in a pool and probably a deck with the pool and all that, right? To where then you got now this crazy inflationary environment and supply issues, right? I mean, you're probably just really recovering from the last 4 years, right?
Yeah, I think this is like the first year where things just kind of feel normal. You know, we're not going through high ebbs and flows, and you know, we're having some really nice steady growth, which is good. A lot of, you know, we look at some of the peers in our industry, and a lot of them are kind of pulling back now because they're so commodity oriented. Whereas we're really well diversified into selling specialty products and a little bit of commodity and then a little bit of manufacturing. So that's what's kind of been the lifeblood for us, and continuing to grow the company is our ability to kind of diversify our product portfolio.
Yeah, this is just me. At least regionally, I don't see a slowdown coming, right? I mean, I know from a township, we have new affordable housing obligations. That's going to necessitate additional construction, right? And it's not just a Hamilton thing. It's a statewide thing, right? People still seem to have money that they want to put into their homes. We just had a contractor at our house last week to give us an estimate on something, right? So it seems like, at least in the short term, the next couple of years, that hopefully it is that steady state a little bit, you know?
It's a very interesting time because, you know, if you own a home, most likely you have more equity now than you ever have had in it. So that does allow people to perhaps stay where they are, improve, expand. Maybe they've got that low mortgage that they really don't want to give up. Our greater region seems to be more and more popular all the time because of everything that, you know, the region brings to people. Housing ages no matter what. So from that standpoint, you know, it's a nice business to be in because, you know, there's always work that should be done, some of which has to be done. So yeah, we're very optimistic about the future. No question about it. A lot of opportunity out there for folks to continue to build and improve.
Awesome. So we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we'll finish up talking. But I want to get talking a lot about ebbs and flows and diversification and leadership. Just we got a lot of graduations going on now too, right? And I know you're looking for new employees. And
Always.
what advice you got for young adults graduating high school or college or trade school? We'll talk about that when we come back from break. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org. Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford-Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford-Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford-Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford-Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. Kessel Dermatology in Hamilton Square is an award-winning dermatology practice led by Dr. Daniel Kessel, a board-certified dermatologist. He and his expert staff treat patients of all ages. They offer treatments of all types of skin, hair, and nail conditions, and annual skin cancer screenings, anti-aging treatments, ultraviolet A and B light treatments, skin tightening procedures, Botox, and other treatments that enhance your skin's overall health and appearance. Kessel Dermatology is open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. For appointments, call 609-890-2600. That's 609-890-2600. Or visit KesselDermatology.com. They're at 1700 Whitehorse, Hamilton Square Road. Kessel Dermatology. They're good.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. I want to again start out by thanking our sponsors, Angela Wanafree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford and Subaru, Saul Funeral Homes, Kessel Dermatology, and Tina's Pizza and Bagels. So we've talked a little bit about, the changes in the company over the last 100 years, the changes of employees, right? What advice do you have for the young adults now, graduating high school, graduating college, right? Especially the ones maybe in high school who don't know what they want to do, right? I don't know if I want to go to college. I'm not into the military. And so, what advice do you have for them?
There's no better place to look than the lumber and building materials industry. And that's a plug for us as a dealer of building materials, but also for the trades too. Whether you want to look to become an electrician or a carpenter or a plumber, there's a lot of opportunity there because, like we talked about earlier in the show, there's a lot of contractors who are sort of aging out, and they need to pass on, their what they've learned to newer people, and that's where we're sort of limited in, is just the amount of labor that's available for the trades. So whether you're in the trades or if you want to go into building materials, there's some really good opportunities, and there's an opportunity to build a really fulfilling career.
There's always be building going on, right?
Always.
Yeah. So if you learn those kind of skills, right, whether through a VOTEC or do you guys have apprenticeship programs too?
We do, yeah. We have an apprenticeship program whereby if you want to start out with us, we'd work you through our operations department. and then kind of float you around the company based on where your skill set is and where your aptitude is. We actually had one fellow who started with us in our service division, who had prior experience working with his hands, really liked the trades, but he was a really good people person, very good communicator, and we had him in service, and then we moved him into sales. And now he's really starting to blossom in a sales role for us, and he's very happy. He's very motivated. I think he's like 23 or 24 years old, so he's got a great future ahead of him. And we want to continue to give him the tools to be successful and really enjoy what he's doing.
That's awesome. And then do you partner with community college, VOTEC, anything like that for employees, even if they don't work for you, right? You probably see them almost from the contractor end and things like that too, right?
Yeah, actually in our manufacturing division, we've had great success with Mercer County VOTEC and the folks over there. They'll sort of, keep an eye out for individuals that express or have, to John's point, the aptitude for working in that particular environment. And again, it's a great opportunity. If they've got a work ethic, they can do super well. No question about it. Lots of opportunity for overtime as well as our business continues to grow, and there's ability to continuously move up. So it's very nice, especially for those who aren't interested in laying out the money that's associated with 4-year college. That's a lot to put out.
Sure.
And if you do the math, and if you're interested in getting to work right away, starting to build your nest egg, and develop your career, it's definitely something worth considering.
Yeah. And I know you have a lot of community involvement as well, right?
Yep.
So it's not just here's our business and that's it.
Right.
You can't be around for 100 years or since the 60s as a family-owned business without some community involvement as well.
Yeah, we're always looking to to try and support the community around us. Just recently, we helped support Steinert High School with their new baseball stadium. They installed some bleachers, and we were happy to get behind that because one of our customers asked us about it, and was like, yeah, this is perfect for us. We want to be behind this. This is a local high school with a really solid baseball program. But aside from that, we've gotten around some causes that are important to us, but also not really affiliated with building materials. Causes like type 1 diabetes and the JDRF, which is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Anchor House, which is a shelter for young homeless kids that are looking for family support. The Special Olympics in Greater New Jersey in the Bucks County area. Also, Deborah Heart and Lung Hospital down in South Jersey. And then, of course, our police, our firefighters, and military. So what's really the way we get behind these programs is we actually design all of our delivery trucks around them. So you might see one of our flatbeds with a huge American flag kind of emblazoned over it, and that's our police and firefighter, nurse and EMT truck. Or you might see our type 1 diabetes truck driving around. Our Anchor House box truck will be driving around. Our Special Olympics box truck will be driving around. So anytime you see the Hamilton brand out on the road, you're going to see a different vehicle associated with it that supports a different cause, and that's something that not a lot of other companies in our industry do.
You're supporting others besides just yourself, right?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Like in our industry, lumber and building materials can be kind of boring at times, or it may seem boring, and you see trucks that are just like white trucks with a logo on it, or a black truck with a logo on it, and we're like, well, let's do something a little bit different, a little bit more unique, try and grab some attention, and they are pretty attention grabbing.
Well, and you think, right, they're going, we talked earlier about the range, right? And so they're driving on the highways past people or in neighborhoods past people, right? I mean, you're bringing attention to nonprofits and causes, right? That otherwise, if it was just a white box truck, wouldn't get anything.
Yeah, they're mobile billboards. 5 days a week. Good part of 8-10 hours a day. circulating from eastern Pennsylvania to New York down to the southern tip of New Jersey. So, yeah, you're probably going to see one if you're out there.
I mean, I see them anyway because
Yeah.
I drive by your yard all
yeah.
the time, right? It happens to be up the street from the municipal building, so I drive by it all the time. But I see them around as well, and
We've
it's just
also,
nice to see.
aside from that, we've also done fundraisers for the past couple of years with Killarney's. We've raised money for type 1 diabetes, and we're always looking for other benevolent causes that we can sort of get behind and just use our reach with our customers to sort of support those different causes.
Awesome. So, gentlemen, we just have a few minutes left. I got time for one last question, which is anything else you want to just share about the company, about yourselves, about the kind of the future, where you see it going, anything like that as we close out for the hour?
In our industry, we were talking about this earlier before we started, but there's a lot of consolidation. We see a lot of consolidation across multiple industries, whether it's banks or, lumber yards, and we have stuck around for 100 years because we've been able to adapt, single location. We're not getting bought. We're not selling. We see a lot of opportunity for growth. Because of that foresight, we've been able to be recognized as a top lumber and building material dealer across the country. We're in the top 100 almost every year. So that's pretty exciting for us. And a lot of our contractors like the opportunity to still be able to buy local, to not deal with another big commercial enterprise,
And get a person on the phone when they call, right?
exactly.
And that goes for homeowners too. Ours, I think, is still one of those businesses where you can develop a relationship. Maybe you're going to remodel your house over the next 10 years. You can come in and you can see Chuck or John or Joey, and chances are, they're going to be there the next time that you come in. They know their stuff. They're going to help you out. Totally different experience than the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, we appreciate everything that the township and the region's done for us, and we want to return the favor.
If you think about it, the township and you guys have grown together, right? Over the last 100 years. I talked a little bit in my opening about the new municipal building, right? That was 1929 that opened its doors, right?
Wow.
So the population at that time was under 30,000 people. And now here we are 100 years later about to go out to bid on a new building, right? Which may be supplied in part from you guys, right? So it's just an interesting path that the company's taken with the township and with the area as well. But thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining us for again this month in Hamilton. We'll see you again in June. Want to thank WBCB 1490 AM again, as well as our sponsors. Angelo Onifree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford and Subaru, Saul Funeral Homes, Kessel Dermatology, and Tina's Pizza and Bagel. And with that, we will see you next month.